I always want to go, yeah, after that. How's everybody? Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you, Lindsay. I love you, honey. How is you? How is you? How are you over there in the Canadian chilliness? I love you, sweetheart. Thank you so much for the sweet things you say throughout the year to me. I'll tell you what, you guys mean the world to me when you put comments under the videos and something we did touched you or made you think, or you went back and looked at a story and you were interested in it, or whatever it may be. And then there's some of you that have been through it since the absolute beginning, and I thank you guys for being here. These are my Black Ops mods, my gatekeepers. These are the people that once you do walk through the gate, not like the lady in the little intro there, when you go through the gate and you choose your journey and you pick your way and you walk it the way you choose to walk it, you meet people in your life that are a little wiser because they've walked the trail ahead of you, or they did something ahead of you, or they had an experience similar, or they learned something that you could you could learn from. And those are kind of like gatekeepers and people that assist you on your journey, whether it be spirit guides or living human beings. And you might only meet them one time, one little moment in time, and it has such an impact. And you guys have that impact on me. And it's amazing. This channel could have an impact on anybody. I've got some things to talk about, and we'll talk, whatever. But I'd love to hear your favorite times of the year. If you had a favorite episode that you really enjoyed, a guest that you really enjoyed, a time that we were talking about something, or something happened in the chat, or just something in the last year that's a good thing, or it might be something that was maybe not so good at the time, but wound up being a blessing or a real learning experience or whatever. So one of the things I'm very grateful for and look back over are people like you, Lindsay, and I just love you. And it blows my mind when you guys can reach out and give us something to use toward this channel. And we thank you very much. And, Happy New Year to you, my love. And I'm just glad somebody out there is enjoying what we're putting out. So because like I say all the time, hey Monica, we are not we're an acquired taste, and I know that, and I don't, we don't change for anybody. We're here for a reason. This is what it is. We don't put on airs. Hot Mess Express. But I will tell you one thing, disclaimer for the entire show. This is a New Year's show. I feel like it's been forever since we got back, because, all the stuff. My son got married. Thank you. I know it was wonderful. It was just perfect. The flowers were great. I'll see if I can pull up a picture and show you. It was just gorgeous. It was red and white, and, and Christmas greens. It was just gorgeous. I mean, you can't beat it, red and white, and black. Come on now. It's just beautiful. Simple and lovely. And the happy couple they just got back from, the 49ers game in Washington, D.C. This is their honeymoon. They stayed at the wonderful hotel there and saw all the monuments in the Washington Monument and Capitol and Potomac, the whole thing. So they did a lot of the memorials as well. Very profound. Of course, the Lincoln Memorial. That was, it's a profound thing to say. So absolute cheers to Jess and Stacy on your honeymoon. And we hope you many, many, many years of happiness. It's a lovely couple. And I'm going to take a picture, and pull it in here. And just don't tell my son I did it, because he'll try to whoop me. So anyway, that on top of this, Lynn and I hadn't got together in a long time. Lynn. She's a friend of the channel. Is she in here? Yes, she is. Are you ready, Lynn? Thumbs up. I can only see you from the nose up. So pull the camera down. So there you go. So anyhow, I thought you were just hiding behind a thing there. So anyway, she's an author. She is a lecturer. She has been on Coast to Coast several times. Repeat guest on Coast to Coast, both on the radio show and on the what's his name? Hang on a minute. George. I'm just complete blank, but you know who I mean. Anyway, on his show as well. It'll come into my head about 15 minutes from now when it makes no sense. But that is quite the accomplishment. And the reason being is because she has had decades of experience in the medical field. Most of the time is an end of life care, and she happens to also be a medium. So she has learned quite a bit about that aspect of life. It's funny how we've learned in this field that we learn so much about life from death. And, whether you've experienced it, the death of a loved one, a pet, um, we all think amongst ourselves that we would be different in the situation. We can hold it together. Well, to a degree, I think that's true. I do think, but it doesn't mean we don't grieve, and it doesn't mean we don't worry, and it doesn't mean we don't miss, and we don't feel the loss and everything else. Even though we have to kind of like, the truth, they're okay, and we have to kind of pop each other in the head every once in a while. But the thing is we're here to experience these things. And Lynn is one of the best people I know of to come in here and tell us a little bit about experience those things. So everybody welcome, author and many, many things, and friend, first and foremost, Lynn Monet.
Hi,
Hi, honey.
everybody.
Hey, baby.
Hey,
How you doing?
You want to know who my favorite guest is on your show? It's you.
Oh, stop it.
All of these things, everybody loves you, Cisco. You're
thing, and that's so sweet.
To be on here, and everybody, I can't see the chat, but I love you all. Thank you for coming.
Oh, you cannot? Okay.
Oh,
well,
no.
Here comes bacon. And can you see it if I put it up like that?
I can. Yes.
There you go. There you go. And and there's cheers to Jesse and Stacy. Yeah, it was a lovely wedding. My son got married last Saturday. So it was just like, whirlwind right before Christmas, and then Christmas, and now here we are, New Year's. I didn't even know till what did we like nudge each other this morning and said, hey, you want to do a show? Because everybody's been getting sick. Everybody's been getting, wore out, if not sick, from holidays. And it's like, ugh, it's over, And I don't know who's out tonight, but our lovely friends in the UK, if you're in the UK, Happy New Year, because it's already New Year there, right?
Here, and I think in Africa as well. I believe that we have some guests also
happy
bring into the room, as well as all over the world. So
there you go. There you go. So if you've already experienced your midnight, here's to you. I got a new batch of Funny Honey, so I'm celebrating with you. Happy New Year. Listen, as I said in the little video there that I played, I don't know if you saw it, Lynn. You'll have another chance to, at the end, I'll play it again, because it's a kind of a cheeky little thing, because basically I put in some older stuff, watching people in 1923 and 37 and, all those ages celebrating New Year's the way it was, tuxedos and big bands and, drinking and dancing till dawn kind of thing. And then, of course, you've got the dropping of the ball in Rockefeller, Times Square. That was always a big thing. But it's like that around the world, moving into this calendar. What's been your experience with New Year's?
Wow. I haven't done New Year's in so many years. For one thing,
hey, Scott.
I don't really drink and celebrate. I just usually go to bed and they get awakened by my dog crawling underneath me because she's scared of all
the fireworks. The fireworks.
Oh, but with every year, I kind of reminisce over the year and think about where I can make improvements, goals that I can set for myself in the coming year. And, this year, I remember at the end of 2022 saying, it's got to be better in 2023 than it was in 2022. And for most of so, and from what I understand, 24 is going to be a rough ride for everybody. However, it means that it will come out for overall a better thing for all of us.
Yeah. Did you get to see the video that played in the beginning? Because I know Lynn had a hard time getting in here for some reason. There was elves in the phones, and I was sending all kind of links on we had to go through her email, and that's after trying 3 or 4 things. So she was rattled in the beginning. But in that video, it says that I had a thing of New Year's where they were celebrating New Year's. If anybody remembers the Poseidon Adventure, the original from the 70s, when they were doing all those what do you call it? Just travesty, films, disaster films, they called them. And they all celebrated New Year's. And then right in the midst of the whole thing, the whole Poseidon flips upside down. That's where I told everybody, keep your celebrate, and hope for the best, but keep your eyes open, because I think every light worker right now, Lynn, they're just like full on boop. When your light bulb just really surges and it gets really bright, we're all just like, high voltage.
Well, and
I mean,
we
sure.
have to lights brighter right now because the loosh is so thick in the air. You can practically cut it everywhere you go.
You
It's
got to
just,
keep putting it out. Oh
it's,
my gosh.
yeah,
I
it's,
agree. I agree. And now listen, you can break through though, guys. Now listen, I want to say hi to everybody in here, but I got to get this message out. You can break through. It's the little things. I don't care if you're feeding the birds or, the squirrels, takes a pocket full of peanuts, whatever you're doing, the crossing guard, a candy bar, whatever, a rose for the lady that takes the toll every morning on the parkway, something out of the blue. I don't want any thanks. You're not doing it for any reason other than to pass it on and put the light out. And I'll tell you why. These are little sparks. If you do this and you put this out, I tried it a couple of days in a row, and sure enough, before the day was done, it came back around in an unexpected way after I forgot all about it. Did you see what I mean? Just being chill and cool and trying to put the light out there. It's almost similar to, I hate to say it, but we tell the truth here. There's no sense in lying at this point. Soldiers joke a lot more. They really do, and it's a way to keep their head above that line, if you know what I mean. But go ahead, Lynn. You still can't see the chat, honey, at all.
no,
So I'm gonna, as you're talking, I'm gonna pull up a couple of messages here.
I
Just say
want to
hi to people.
said hello to Feel Ignored. Cisco and I are so happy that you all are here, and it's always such a pleasure to be on here with Cisco. She's such an amazing woman, and she's got a heart of gold. That's absolutely what she's correct. And another thing that's really, really important in the coming year is to be responsible not only for your words but your thoughts, because you're
so hard. Oh.
The way that they communicate on the other side telepathically through energy, and our thoughts are energy the same as our words, and they come out even before our words come out often. So
it's so hard, Lynn. Lynn, it's so, if you could read my mind, love, what a tale my thoughts would tell.
Yeah.
I'm just you don't want to be in here. That is my number one thing. I have to admit, this is a struggle constantly, because I idle at a 95. I don't know how to explain that. Most people are about down at like a 20. They run about 15, 18. Those are your functional people that are out there just chilling with their day, right? My thing is up here, so I don't have to jump high. My anger, everything else is holding back. It's like, it's not that it's not there anymore. It's just that I try not to, you know what I mean? And I think it's because of this past life stuff, because warrior. If I was a soldier, I would be my muscle memory, my DNA memory would be trained to be on the defense like that, would it not?
That's
Makes
true.
sense. As well as a healer, as well as these other things. Again, I want everybody, I think we are, along with this awakening thing, Lynn, and I agree with everything you're saying, but something's coming to me, and it always does when we get together, because that energy starts flows with the chat, and I'm getting their stuff and your stuff and back and forth and vice versa. Anyway, I think what's happening too with this awakening, almost like I don't want to say it's the next level of consciousness, because I think it's a layer of it, where now we're also starting to get those things are snapping into place with DNA memory, with memory, like past life memories. We're connected into, I think the trauma kind of split us off of all these past couple of years, seriously, and moved us to this point where it's kind of bleeding to the surface more frequently, the memory from other lives, like whether it might be you're drawn to something wild like candle making or soap making or homesteading, or it could be 1,000 different things. But are you getting any of that from your end? Are you seeing anybody that's getting that, like little deja vu almost, but on steroids.
Yes, I have been, and also, speaking of that, I've been working with Dr. Jerry Marvinsky, and I actually had him do that MACE treatment on me recently. He wanted to use me as his guinea pig, and it actually goes in and removes some of the stamps that we have of trauma and drama and different things in life that have often derailed us off of our paths or have made us have a bumpier road getting to the and justifying the means or our goals type thing. And I actually had him do that on me as a guinea pig, just, to see how it would work. And it actually helped quite a bit. I was able to reflect back on some things in my life that were traumatic. And instead of feeling that moment of anxiety and fear, I was able to kind of look at it as a person looking from the window inside where I wasn't as affected. It's kind of like, oh, well, that's terrible that happened to those people, and realize in that moment that I'm in there, but I'm not emotionally attached to it anymore. So that's also important. And another thing too, that speaking of thoughts and being responsible for thoughts and our words, and like Cisco said, the little things do count, and even a simple thank you when someone does do something for you
Little
also.
sparks of light, dude. I mean, it's so important to pierce that darkness. Listen, anybody that has studied shamanism or anything like that, or even tribal, I don't want to say tribalism, but because it puts your mind in a different spot, but that's what it is. In anything, indigenous, whatever, that going back to that natural, just the natural thing, it's all the same. There's so much commonalities throughout all of this, right? So what we've done, or what they've done to us, what we've allowed them to do to us, whether it be through the water and the chemicals and the medicines and this and that and the propaganda and the MK Ultra and the subliminal and the AI and the, all that. Boy, we probably just went yellow just like that. Might as well hang a ghost now because we're done. But anyway, so that usually gets us kicked off when the ghost comes back, but he's unlived himself, and YouTube will cut you off fast for that. You can do so many other things, but if a ghost comes back, I'm like, I don't even know the guy, the argument, it's not even worth arguing. Just like cut it out. It's so funny. But anyway, I don't even know what the hell I was saying. But the thing is I believe that the consciousness is now raising. So, because look, anybody that's, like I said, I was saying about shamanism or anything like that, the darkness is important. The darkness is important, just like our bad choices are important that we've lived through and learned from. See,
Okay.
our mistakes that have made us stronger, like Jesus said, bones will break, hearts will break. There's going to be things here you can't learn in school without going through some trauma. You go through trauma and you live through it. That little thing we say flippantly, like, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Well, here's the thing. It also makes us wiser if we're paying attention. It's the idiots that go around and keep doing the same damn thing over and over again. That's, making the same mistakes over and over and expecting something different. Didn't Einstein say that was the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. So there it is. So if your consciousness is raising, look, we all have anchors. We all have rocks in our pockets. Those big coats we talk about, those big pockets full of rocks. I don't care whether you're talking about Marley coming back and telling Scrooge the change you forge in life. Yours is 10 times what this is. 7 years ago. There's so many different literature and films and poetry and whatever art that, and just the dead coming back to tell you that you got to empty the pockets, however metaphorically you want to explain that. And you've seen that too, Lynn.
Yes, absolutely. You can't let
Speak on.
anchor you
Yeah.
and hold you back. Absolutely.
And it does in the living too. It does while we're living too, because that's one of mine, the angry, the idling at 95. It's like anybody that knows me, it's like, how can you, because it's not just anger, it's adrenaline, it's defensive, it's muscle memory, DNA memory, it's all this other stuff. And it's also, you and I've talked about this before too, with empaths, you're also absorbing everybody else's anxiety and everybody else's anger and their whatever. So you have to,
Yeah.
salt bath. People ask, should I do salt bath? Should I, put salt on my windshield, windowsill and my doorway and out around my house? Or should I, my car, at the foot, whatever, my feet, whatever. Should I, maybe put it in a spritz, add a little holy water, like Amy Allen says, and spray around, once a month around my house, whatever, inside my car. Should I do that? All of the things, all of the things at this point, whether it's carrying crystals in your pocket, wearing them around your neck, they have these cool little things now, like little cages, if you can see, and you can change out the gemstone, and it's a little like a bag. You can get them. Just look online. It's called gemstone cage, whatever necklace. Just look it up. Or
Yeah.
if you're crafty, you can make them, but it takes a little skill. You know what I mean? It's not one of those beginner kind of things. But anyway, and you can change out the stone as per your needs, which is the same as a medicine bag, which is the same as wearing necklaces of certain warriors before they go to battle or before they go to meeting or council, or you see where I'm coming from? Everything is just, you've got to connect back to nature to get the strength. We are in a spiritual war, and in order to fight spirit, you have to fight it spiritually as well as nature based, because that's where all the power is, and within you. And I think we're starting to see that, Lynn. Are you seeing? I know you're getting attacked left and right and upside down. I know
Yes.
you are, but
Yep.
you're also shining through it, though. Yeah.
I am. I've been trying to help a lot of people lately. Also, people, it's important to wear protection on your left wrist. I have an iron bracelet here, which a demonologist that was on the show with Cisco back earlier this year, who was amazing, mentioned to wear something iron, and always you want to put
I
it on
want
your,
one. I want one.
which is Etsy people. They're like
Yep.
books,
There we go.
and I wear it all of the
And
time.
explain why, Lynn, because you draw what?
Well, because I
You
draw
draw in
other
from your
people.
left.
Oh yes, you draw in from your left. That's
From your
absolutely
left. This is
yes.
why you want your block here, and then you have going out this way, and it's just the way it flows. It's like when we were talking about getting grounded, and saging and putting our energy down into the tree filtering it and giving us its good energy back up through us to refill us and ground us. That whole thing, it's the way it is. It's
That's
not because we're saying it. It's not because Lynn's saying it, or it's because it is. That's just it. It's what works over and over and over again. And that's what I meant too about tribal anywhere, indigenous anywhere, culture anywhere. You're going to get this,
right.
you know.
And another thing too that people don't think of. I know that movies, we love our movies. I like the tear jerkers, but some of
Yeah,
these action flicks that have the fighting and the shooting and the killing and the blood and the guts, you
the
have to
energy.
that when you're looking at that, it's registering in your brain and you're thinking about it and sending that negativity back out.
This is true. This is true.
Think about. So,
True.
there's things that people need to look at. They need to look at, what they need to declutter in their own life.
It's so true.
The
It.
negativity loves that sort of thing. It loves to hide out in your clutter or your, whatever your thing
Yep.
is. Might need to look at and get that.
And you can clean, and look, you can clean for the new year. You guys want to do something, this resolution stuff. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying, I know me, I've seen me do it. I don't even make them anymore because I've never kept one my entire life. Not one. It's just one of those things. It's things you set goals and you try to do them or whatever, but you get shifted. And I'm fine with getting shifted every once in a while, because I've learned that things aren't always, I might have went this direction for that, but it was to get me over here. And I've learned to just let that, kind of happen. I mean, listen, I kick and paddle when I need to. It's like I don't just follow the flow of the river, but sometimes you got to, because it takes you to the most interesting places. But here's the thing, Lynn. Starting a new year, what you're saying is perfect, because look, it's like spring cleaning. Why wait for spring? Start the year like that and clean your whole house with salt. And it's not like, it's a lot. put it in a spray bottle, start in the kitchen, then do the bathroom, then do the doorways, do the, whatever. Do that. Find a scent you like, frankincense, myrrh, Palo Santo, anything, you like. Sage around, cleanse it for the new year, and, maybe resolve to do that once a month. It's a maintenance thing. If you have a problem, once a week. If you have a bad problem, once a day. It's just, as needed. I try to tell people it's the same with herbs. Everybody always asks me, it says take 2 every day. And I'm like, look, I've been studying this for 35 years. I'm telling you, they have to say that. They're not allowed to say, you're supposed to talk to somebody who knows what they're doing. So I'm telling you you need to take more of this, but that's it with herbs. It's the same thing.
Yes, and in addition to what Cisco said, which I totally agree with, it's not just doing it, it's doing it correctly. There is a method to it. Like, for instance,
yes. Amen, sister.
Start at your door and you go to the left all the way around your house. You don't just start whirling it around in the middle of a room. Right. You start to the front door and work your way to the left. You definitely want to get your creases and your ceiling line and
open your cabinets, flip over your couch, go under the couch, go in the corners. Yes, go in that bookcase, go up and down, go in the closets, in between the shelves of the linen. Do all of this, and you must do this with a mantra of your choosing. I personally suggest a spiritual warfare prayer, mixed with something extra, if that's what you want. You want to add 5 or 6 different flavors in there, fine, as long as you believe it. But you have to keep in mind too, people get so ego when it comes to this. You're thinking about, this is your health, your living space, your family's space. You are surrounded with electronics that are betraying you every day, that's bringing in bad news, bad vibes. And if this isn't true, why am I playing a 15-minute good vibe intro just to get everybody's day off of them so they can come in and enjoy this chat? Why do you think the chat feels so good? And we leave a little happier than when we came in. And we can still talk about dark subjects. It's because we've turned all our lights on. We've raised our vibration. Hopefully you're eating the chocolate and the good cookie, and you're raising your endorphins in your own personal way. Don't tell me, I don't want to hear about it. Whether you're doing your honey or you got a Southern Comfort in your cocoa, listen, do it. Smoke them if you got them. I'm telling you right now, whatever you need to chill. I'm not saying get into oblivion. I mean, tonight you got to be careful. Designated driver, do all the things. You set up the taxi, the Uber, go in between, the ice water, the lemonades, in between the drinks. Listen, you do not want to be out of control in today's world out in the streets.
No.
Unless you got a death wish. I'm not joking. That cute little trip 15 minutes from the house at 2:00 in the morning, coming back with all the drunks, mixed with the anxiety and the aggression and the high voltage, frequencies that they're sending these people. I'm telling you, you don't realize that people are going crazy. This is crazy. And it's going to get crazier.
Yeah, not to mention that AI
head down,
listening to every word you say, every noise you make. So, you wonder why all of a sudden, let's just say, for instance, that you've got bubbly and all of a sudden an ad comes up on your phone for Tums.
Absolutely. It's been happening all week. Girl, and it's getting worse. And here comes AI, and here comes this, and everything's cute. Oh yeah, I want the thing in my palm so I can just wave and pay for my chips and my Monster drink. Listen, shit's getting out of control. So here's the deal. If you don't want to get sucked up into the big vortex of evil and bullshit and everything else, you got to ride this storm. We can ride it together. You can ride it by yourself. You can ride it halfway and come on back and go, you know what? It's better off in the group. I'm telling you, keep above the line. Like every guest I've ever had on this show has said, keep your vibration high and it can't touch you. You're riding the waves. It's like a surfer on a wave that's just chilling. They see the storm. They know they got it. They know it's coming, and they're not riding it alone. And that's how I'm looking at 2024. It's like somebody in the comments, on a
Got it.
show I'm a part of said this. He said, I'm looking at 2024 like I went through 23, like I'm showing up on a crime scene and I've just walked in on a body in the kitchen and I know I got to go look in the bedroom and I don't want to do it. And I'm like, that's perfect because 2024, listen, this stuff's not going to hammer itself out with a lot of, gnashing of teeth and all that kind of mess. So ride the wave. You know it's coming. You know there's a storm. Prepare, do your thing, clean your house. Start with a good foundation. Clean your temple, your house as
That's
well.
and
Strengthen up.
And as you keep also your physical body clean, like Cisco's also mentioned, we have that energy field that protects us. It's our self-defense. It's our shield. It is so important. People, you try to eat well, you clean your body, but you don't clean your fields. And the thing is it needs to be done correctly. You don't just go soaking in a bath of sea salt is fine, or whatever you're going to soak in, but there's more to it than that.
Yep.
You soak in it for a certain amount of time, you submerge a certain amount of time. In addition to that,
20 minutes minimum. 20 minutes minimum. That's just the short version. Hey, William.
And as you submerge yourself multiple times, head included, that you also include some form of mantra or prayer or something. If it doesn't have to be religious. Most of us here are more spiritual than religious. Religious kind of puts everybody into a box, but like you could, you're comfortable with it. The Lord's Prayer or something out of Psalms even, or like a mantra, like you had mentioned.
But here's the thing. The best way to describe that for anybody that goes like that when they think about religion, listen to me. Mm-hmm. You're fighting something and that's all it believes in. You need to understand that you're using the right tool. That might not be your go-to, but I'm telling you, it's all connected. And what it's doing is it's trapping you because that's a crack in your windshield. What you need to do is open up and go, everything is for everybody. Why do you think I sit here on this podcast and tell you this is why people don't like me? And that's fine. That's fine, because here's the thing.
That's why I love you.
They're not in the conscious, and I don't mean smarter than or more experienced than. I'm not saying wiser than. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the conscious level where the things I'm saying are not clicking with them. That's okay. Planted a seed and hope to God that it hits fertile ground at some point, because if you're not realizing that all of this is connected, and you're still fighting that Bigfoot is the only thing that exists, but Dogman can't, or, ghosts can use things, or evil entities, just say, or can use electronics to attack or attach or affect another living human being and travel around, but you think that angels can do it. What you're doing is you're creating walls that don't need to be there. What you need to do is go in and then demolish all the walls. Demolish the walls. It's all connected. And sometimes we have to dip into the darkness, and that might be, going in there to be stronger, to learn how to be a warrior. You don't learn to be a warrior, by crocheting. You know what I mean? You have to battle. You have to battle. And if you're here and you know that there's an awakening, whatever you think that may be, again, disbelief in gravity is not going to keep you from falling down the stairs. You feel me? It doesn't really matter what we believe. It only matters for our intent in what we believe. So if you think that, if it bothers you to go in there and invoke the name of Jesus against something that's only going to bow down for that name, who are you hurting? You're not changing anything. You're helping that, whatever that evil presence is, to get one over on you because of a wall that's built there brick by brick by lies and imaginary bullshit. Go, Lynn.
That's true.
That's what I got to say.
And I actually experienced that recently with the house in my first time dealing with an elemental, that all of the things that I thought would work didn't in this case, and something else worked. It was actually even more simple than the other stuff for the other things. But And of course, Cisco scared the bejesus out of him, so he's behaving himself because he's regularly threatened with her on occasion, and he remembers who she is. So with the help that she did, but it's so important that things are done correctly and consciously, and
Rebuke that mess.
yeah, you've got to, and you've got to be responsible for your art fields and things like that.
Yes, and like you were saying about your thoughts, this is the hardest thing, and I know I went, shot off in this direction. Look, the train leaves track here all the time. If that bothers you, you just, hang on, get a better seat, put the seatbelt on, whatever, because, we take some hard lefts. When you're talking about that, um, it's just it's so right. And, you're thinking about going to the new year. We're trying to just give tips on, how do we get through that? Look, we're past the BS. We know we're in spiritual warfare. We know the light beats the darkness. And anybody who's ever walked in the darkness, raise your hand, right? Did you come out smarter? Did you come out tail between your legs, head dragging, walk of shame? We've all done it, one thing or another. I've made some bad choices, but this is it. It's like the movie Nefarious. I don't know how many people have seen the movie Nefarious. If you've seen the movie Nefarious with Sean Patrick Flannery, and I don't know the young man who plays the psychiatrist is a lawyer, but if you haven't seen it, look, you're going to have to fight to find it, but find it and watch this movie because it's brilliant. Two people in a room. One is going death row, killed a bunch of people, did a bunch of things. This guy is evaluating him. And keep in mind, the funny honey is kicking in, so seatbelts, please. Do not move about the cabin. You might have to put your trays up in a minute. Hold on. So they're sitting there, and this guy's possessed, and the demon's messing with this dude. And every once in a while, you'll see a little bit of the real guy that's in there. He's going, "Please help me. This is awful." The guy, the demon's even messing up his last meal because it meant something to the guy, and it's just another punch in the soul. They've just beaten this guy down to broken. He's killed people, and this thing is he pops out and says, they made me do this. I don't even remember. How many people do you think are sitting in jail right now? I can remember thinking this when I was a teenager. How many people are sitting in jail that have been possessed? Multiple cases. I'm not saying all that became famous, but they're there. Guarantee it.
Yep.
Guarantee it.
And they are on overdrive right now. There's a whole spiritual realm that's paralleling ours right now, and the veils are so
yes.
Because a lot more is going to happen. It's going to seem a lot worse, but the overall outcome is going to be better for everybody. We just have to hang on for this ride.
Hey, buddy.
A lot of people are dealing with attraction and for various things, for schizo. It's not even really. I don't.
It's terrible because there's so many things now, Lynn, and I'm not joking. This has to do with everything I'm going to mention here is messing with you. The chemicals, the trails. Okay, I have to be careful because they'll pull me quick. In the water, the food, and even things marked organic. There's numbers, and the numbers depict how many GMOs are in organic. Hold on, excuse me. What? That's like saying jumbo shrimp to me. It is or it isn't. Is it or is it not pregnant? It's organic or it isn't. Just the horrible stuff. There's all of these different things, frequencies, like I said, subliminal messaging, MK altering, narratives in headlines and social media and advertising and everywhere you go, candy bar wrappers, magazine covers, National Enquirer bullshit. And I mean, in this world, I've watched it flip that the National Enquirer is more spot on than the shit that's playing in the airports on every damn TV. And everybody thinks is the high end of journalism. I got another thing for you. You know what I mean? It's insane. We've come to a flip-flop world, and the only way to win this, Lynn, it's like you said, it's like walking through the darkness. How many shaman stories have you heard or known, or maybe yourself? You've walked in it.
Oh,
You've walked in it.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh,
horrid.
yes, it is.
It's horrid, but here we are to say we made it through.
That's
It's
true.
not bragging, it's not ego, it's not anything else. It's like by the grace of God. You know what I mean? That we've gone this far, and the wisdom of people that we listen to along the way, maybe even too late most of the time. Because you
So
look back and go, she was right, he was right, whatever.
that's
We
very,
found out.
and it's okay to reach out for help too. Sometimes if you're overwhelmed, there are people out there that are light workers that can help you with things.
Yep.
My dog's in the kitchen with me. You can hear him.
It's okay. I hear the nails. I love that sound because it means there's love walking around the
There it is.
kitchen or down the hallway. I just love it. Yeah. And
Yeah.
and it's funny. I can hear people, other podcasters and stuff with, the clickety click behind. And, it's also another way spirit pets come back and let their owners know they're around because they can hear the clickety click going down the hall or to the water dish or whatever. And again, that's it. It blows my mind. Here we are, we're talking around in circles, but basically what I'm saying is if you are at this point of whatever you want to call this awakening, it's definitely spiritual warfare. The dimensions are definitely bleeding into each other. I mean, you get these, we're having time warp bleeds, we're having more Mandela effect, noticeable things in many different directions. We're having more signs in the sky, more signs from the earth, more. Okay. And the reason is everything is on a vibrational full tilt boogie. And that means light workers are on full tilt boogie because the darkness is as well. And here's the thing, it's scared, it's cornered, it's wounded, and it knows it's not going to win. But it's going to use everything it's got in its toolbox. That's why you got to make sure all the tools in your toolbox are sharpened, whatever they may be.
Yep.
You
You got to
know,
be floor running. That's for sure.
right? That's why you're getting these flashes, if you are, of these like I just, for lack of a better word, DNA memories, because it's I think whatever's in charge here, that when you reach out and you say, look, I want to help, I want to be a part of this, I know I'm in the light, I'm choosing the light, I'm in the cornfield, I'm not going to Las Vegas, for all my stand lovers out there, you've made a choice, you've picked the freaking lane. Hey, sweetheart, you're an animal lover, you're going to help animals, you're going to, instead of leaving all those blankets up in your attic or your store and whatever, take them to the shelter, buy a little extra food for them, because listen, everybody's hurting and they can't feed their animals and they're losing animals. Do you know anybody in your neighborhood that's having a hard time feeding a pet and is considering, maybe make a sign, instead of putting signs out like who you voted for or what mayor, whatever, put a sign out in your yard that says, hey, look, do you have a pet you're having a hard time feeding? Please don't turn them in. Call this number. And set up a little neighborhood thing where y'all go out and everybody's got that food that their bougie pet won't eat. And Lord knows it happens in this house 24/7. It's, I feed ferals, but maybe do something and say, hey, look, I bought a case from Chewy because it's cheaper that way. If you're not doing it, take the, take the advice, because you can get a whole case of food a lot cheaper. I mean, even than Walmart, or wherever you're buying it from. I don't know what you're getting, but Chewy's got it. And you get it sometimes in 24 hours, free shipping. And they didn't pay for this endorsement. It's just the truth, So if you know a neighbor, maybe come up with a collection once a month and you go and give them your extra whatever, or help pick a shelter, a non-kill shelter that are trying to keep these animals because people can't feed them and they're turning them in. It's silly. If you can help somebody keep their pet, how cool would that be? Or an elderly person that would love to have one of these older pets, but can't walk it. So do you know somebody that can walk him? Can he take turns? You wonder, what can you do? Would that not be a big benefit in somebody's life? My neighbor just passed a couple of days ago. I tried to keep an eye on her. She was very reclusive. And I had two neighbors, actually three, that really kept a good eye on her. I mean, going over every morning. She had nurses going in and out every day, night and day shift. And because of Christmas and my son getting married and everything, I was so busy for 2 weeks. There was a 3-day gap there where I didn't see her in the window and I didn't see, something going on. You just felt it. I find out 2 days after she had a stroke and they found her in her house. And I missed it and I wasn't there enough. And I keep thinking, could I have done more? And I have throughout 10 years, I've, tried to do, little things and stuff. Probably not near enough, but I did. And like I said, too, she was you get people sometimes where they just don't want a lot of interaction. You know what I mean? So that was a big barrier, but still, what can you do? Because when you do that, Lynn, and I believe this to be true, it elevates your light. It energizes your light and your power to fight this darkness that is here and is magnifying because, as I said, cornered, scared, and very powerful. But the light is as well. Go ahead, honey.
And a lot of times too, another thing that people don't realize with their pets is a lot of times when they come down with illness or some other issue, they're taking a hit for their owner. So, and you don't realize that they are energetically doing that. Maybe they die, they had to be put down because of cancer, but maybe that's something that they took for you, because of their unconditional love and their, for you. And so, people need to be aware of that too. I have a cat family. I have some people moved out and just totally abandoned this mama cat with her kitties. And so they're now at my house, and I've been feeding them, and then of course, trying to keep them warm and things like that. But and unfortunately, my dog I think is actually allergic to the cat. But I've got some homes to take them to, so I'm going to be doing that here in a couple of weeks. Taking them to their new home. So the places that you would normally take them are full, and they won't take them anymore. So they'll either do the catch and release, which isn't free. It's also expensive, and when you get a whole bunch of them, it gets pretty expensive. So
and here we go. Now we got more kittens and everything else. This is what I'm saying. They should do the kit. We have it here where they'll do it for free. But we've got 3 really good no-kill shelters right in my area. And that's good because we have a lot of elderly. We have a lot of elderly vets. We have like about 11 different senior communities this is my area, and it's just, it's really bad, especially when you have a lot of people passing as well. And then if the family doesn't take the pet. So think about that, guys. That's something you can do for the new year too. Do you have a pet? Who is designated to care for that pet if something happened to you? If you were at work and you were in, God forbid, an accident, do you have somebody that, would call and check on you to see if you got home to feed that pet? Would there be somebody who would check on it? Listen, these are all little things. And, we get so caught up with wills and estates. Oh, it sounds like a terrible thing. But what if, you're just hurt? And you're knocked out temporarily and you're in the hospital and you don't know. Listen, you wake up 3 days later, who's been feeding the dog? Exactly. Think about this. These are little things that you can do, to check on. Look, it might be something like with my neighbor, it might be at 8:00 p.m. I know I'm going to be home, or 9:00. I look over there and she flicks a light in the kitchen. I know she's okay. Mm-hmm. If I don't see the light, and that's what I was trying to do with her, and said, if I don't see the blinds open, I know something's wrong. I'll be over there, and she kind of laughed at, I tried a couple of times, but look, people have to cooperate. So, if they're not going to cooperate, it's nothing you can do, but you tried. It's like I said the other day, I tried to do stuff, and then it came back to me when I wasn't even thinking about it. And I'm like, man, this is just awesome, because you need those escalations, because like Lynn said, coming into this, even your thoughts, mm-hmm. I am number one, the absolute worst when it comes to, and I'll laugh at myself because I see how mad I get and angry. And I'm picking it up. I'm picking it up by the cars going by while I'm driving. I'm picking it up in the stores. I'm picking it up at home off the frequencies, everything else. Lynn, you too, right?
Yes, and there are a lot of attachments even that don't belong to you that are attaching on people because they're looking for a free ride, and you've got to be aware of that too. I'm currently working with some people with issues like that. attachments that aren't theirs. They belong to somebody else.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, and it's so bad with empaths, and so many light workers are empaths and don't quite know how to control it or baseline it. It's so hard. So don't worry yourself so much with that. I'll tell you what to do. Go get a candle, preferably a lighter color one, only because colors do have powers. Like go something with pink and light white or something like that. Don't go full on dark purple black, because again, you're trying to use everything that your knowledge to help yourself. So just go with it, right? So you light a candle and fire gaze, put on a guided meditation, just something that's going to look for something like a light worker cleanse and a shielding, a clearing and a shielding together. That's usually spot on. Whether or not it has cord cutting or not, you want to go that deep, do it. Eventually you should. Because again, if your good stuff is coming up from your DNA memory, because at this point in time, your consciousness is ascending to whatever level you need to be at to be in this fight. That's it in a nutshell. Then you need these tricks and tools. So do some fire gazing, listen to that meditation. It might be, monk singing, I don't care if you're doing whatever you need to do for your frequency. And do that clearing and ask your spirit guides to guide you what's right for you to boost your inner power, your higher self, your chakras, everything aligned. Ask them to help guide you because again, what's good for one, most of the things we talk about be good for anybody. But here's the thing, if you're not going to put it in your daily life, what good is it?
Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
So you have to find the one that's for you, whether you're doing it in the shower. Who doesn't have time for that? You
Right.
can't when you're checking your bank account, sitting and doing your thing in the bathroom and all this other stuff, everybody get off the social media. Do your things you have to do. Check your stuff that counts. It's going to mess you up in the day if you don't know how it's going on. Check your bank account. Check whatever else is important to you. If you're a business person, your email, whatever you're doing there, you got time to do that. You got time to put like goods, use your senses, like a good scent that you like, whether, like I said, frankincense, myrrh. Because look, if you're going to use a scent, why not use one that cleanses your area as well and cleanses you? So if you can find one that has these powers, I'm not just talking about, fairy dust and lemon zap and all that. I'm talking about ones that the bad guys give a crap about. You see? Dragon's blood, rose scent. Sometimes I'm doing a heavy duty show. I'll use rose perfume. Why? Mother Mary.
Yes. And love also.
And love.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? I do all of it. These people that'll say, I got this basket and I got a rock, in the basket and I'm happy with my rock. I don't need your pebbles and your flowers and your incense and your ideas and all this other stuff. I'm good. Okay, till good's not good enough. Why not just put it all in the basket? Maybe not all in the same basket as the old thing goes, but understand that some of the best groups have multiple people in there with multiple different talents and specialties and belief bases and everything else. It's and they all work together, like I said, like a band playing a song. Same thing, right?
Yeah, that is so true. Yeah, that as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking so many things are going through my mind. Another thing is too that people don't often think about, in addition to cleaning their energy field, making sure that all of their chakras are wide open, so that clogged. That is important. And the meditation thing, they recently did a study on people with addiction that meditate for 10 minutes a day started to shift their energy. It started to have less cravings for the item that they were addicted to. Nobody has ever used meditation before as a treatment for something like that. So all of these things, are shifting, but you have to apply yourself. And right now, things are going to get rough, and we are in a fight for our lives almost.
Souls. It goes so deep, and it's global, and it's and the thing, and people just have to realize that it really is as simple as no. This is not happening. We are not standing for, you know, everybody knows, you know, the quote, the only reason evil, the only thing evil needs to exist is for good men to stand by and do nothing. Edmund Burke. So that's the thing. But people don't realize they get into this compounded layering of bullshit and
Yes.
loosh, and everything's coming at you from all these different directions. You're just sitting there going, no, with your light, you know, and just reflecting it off. That gets tiring. So why not take in all these extra things that we can do to strengthen that? Because they're doing it.
That's
I'm
right.
telling you, you don't think the bad guys are pulling out every stop they got? Listen, they got CERN on, you know, turning over there, opening up portals. They got kids that don't know what they're doing and are interested in things and decide they're going to whip out something and start opening up vortexes in their closets. And listen, they don't need any help. Evil can walk this earth just fine without anybody helping it along. But you're always going to have those people that's the road they've chosen. They've done it whether they realize it or not, like in that movie Nefarious, I was saying, where the demon kept telling, look, it's that simple. It's the little yeses. It's not one thing. We have to be invited in, but hold on. Every little yes. Yeah, you know, and because we justify it and we do the thing. I'm not saying that people that, you know, everybody does it. So what Lynn is saying too, thoughts. And I'm admitting that's one of my worst things because, man, when there's triggers, hurting pets, hurting innocent people, people being, you know, treated horribly in any way, shape, or form. Ignorance bothers the hell out of me, you know, because I don't understand how people can look at one group of person and say, you know, that person is that culture is the only one that's ever been messed with. There's not a culture you can name that hasn't been. Where's your history? You know, the common sense. That's why I put it in the thing. My prayer for 2024 is that common sense will pull its head out of the universal ass and get more strength and become common again. That's my prayer for 2024. What's yours, Lynn? Do you have a wish for 2024 for the world?
I
That's
do.
mine.
You know, it's always world peace number one, and for people to be more loving towards one another, especially themselves. And when you were talking about people and their thoughts and them covering their heads because it's coming from every angle, what they don't realize is if they don't negate that in their mind and their thoughts and in their emotions, it will come back to them at a later time, the same thing. So it's not just preventing them from putting that negativity out, it's also forming their thoughts are what paved the way for their future and what they want in their future. So make sure whatever you're putting out is something that you want to receive back, because it is almost cyclical and it will come back. And that's part of what's important too. And emotions are so important to keep in check also. I mean, I know that mine runs around like a 2-year-old sometimes, and you know, and then I have to catch it and keep it in check. And you know, people don't realize that you're,
Smack its butt.
yeah, you're amazing.
I agree. I agree. And it's been so tough. And if you guys haven't felt this, how agitated everybody is, they've made these kids grow the stuff. Listen, again, from all angles. Have you ever looked at the ingredients in cereal? Listen, there are ingredients in cereal that you're giving your kids that if you took that ingredient and gave it to your child just as that ingredient, you could go to jail for poisoning your kid. That is a downright fact. And the amount of food that is sold here in the United States that is not allowed to be sold in other countries would stagger you if you knew it. Blow your freaking mind.
Yes, there is so much that I would like to say, but I know that
So ask me. Well, yeah. So, you know, ask me why kids are messed up and why you can't mention something. They're telling me that they're going to draft kids into the military. And I'm like, how are they going to shoot anybody holding a puppy in a coloring book? You don't understand. So the only way we're going to win this battle is to go after the root. And the root is the evil. And the evil is battling with the light. And we have the light. And you have the light, and that's the only way you're going to be able to ride the waves, is to understand that the power is within you. Light beats it every time. Plain and
That's
simple. You just have to weather the storm. You
that's
just
true.
have to weather the storm. And whether it's, you decide to, put holy water, you get some water blessed and put salt in a, I don't know, 55-gallon drum. I don't know how much you need. And then put it in a squirt bottle and go around your house and clean each room with the salt water and holy water. If you want to put crosses on your door and do anointing oil, and you want to, whatever you want to do, you want to add rose to that. You want to do meditation. You want to do vibration sound in your home. Listen, add your car to that. I don't understand all these people that say, you need to cleanse this house. You have an attachment, and we need to push them outside and everything else. Okay, then you leave your house. Everything's protected. Get your driveway, you get your car, and you drive to work. Now, where do you think those entities are now? Do your car. Do your property, do your car, and do you. They never tell you, do you.
That's
You have to resist from the inside out in everything in your area, however big that circle is. You
yep.
know, if you got to do your office space, if you got to do your do your shoes, do whatever, wherever you walk, your locker, hit it all.
And be sure
In the way you want. Yeah, go ahead.
and be sure to clear yourself with your baths before you do it to make it brighter, and then to clear again
Yep.
after you do it. It is
Yep.
so that you reseal yourself, or you may end up, like Cisco was saying. I know that myself, and just in the last couple of months, I actually removed an attachment off of somebody, and it attached to me. And I couldn't get it off because it was feeding on me and my energy. I had to have another person remove it from me. So, you have to, when you especially light bearers, you have to protect yourself. You have to walk your talk.
Yep, and start from the inside out. Yeah, and like I said, I'm admitting that the thought thing is my whole thing, because listen, like I said, I mean, it's just these people. So I try to just block them. If you're in a way where you can wear headphones, or and still hear everything around you, don't put down your defenses. You need all of your senses like on high alert right now. You watch your six. Don't take anything for granted. Getting gas or getting a grocery store, or you see something, don't call yourself crazy and talk yourself out of it, because I'm telling you, all of your intuitions are going to be on higher alert now. You're going to really start feeling like something's going down. I shouldn't be here. Listen to it, because you're going to be getting those little zappy, kind of zap gifts, like gifts from the spirit world that go, they're listening. We're going to throw some more at them and see if they catch it, and you're going to get those things. It's happening to everybody, that's at least, that's admitting it, it's been going on for a couple months, but it's
It is.
really coming fast. It's getting rapid now.
It is.
I'm really picking up. Aren't you, Lynn?
Yeah, and the veils are getting thinner between the dimensions. So people are,
100%.
and people are starting to awaken more. They're starting to question more. I mean, look
Yep.
at all of the things around us that are happening. I will definitely try to
Yep.
speak in code, because I don't want Fluff Tube to get upset.
Oh, the
So
inner tubes. Yeah. Oof.
yeah, well, I'm talking, I mean, your programming, I don't want to get us bumped off. I call it Fluff Tube because you got to keep it happy. You got to tiptoe around a few,
Yep.
speed not free, and
Yep.
just about anywhere. But I mean, there's so much manipulation going on as well. I mean, with the weather and all sorts.
Neurolinguistic programming.
Yes. I mean, I was mentioning to my son the other day, because he had a really, really old car, but it's in good running condition. And I was telling him, I said, you better keep that car, because it runs on gasoline and has no microchip in it. If something were to happen and the grids were to go down, you're going to see all these Teslas lined up on the highways, like in that
Yep.
one movie, because there's nowhere for them to charge them.
Why do you think they want everything electric?
Now, my boyfriend, Bill, who's in the audience, I love you, Bill.
Love you, Bill.
Yeah, he took his Toyota in recently, his truck, and the guy told him, he said, you need to hang on to this truck, because everything from here on out is a hybrid. So they have can turn off your engine at the drop of a hat if they want.
Yep. OnStar, all that mess. Listen, All of
Yeah.
this stuff, there's a reason for every dang bit of it, and it's crazy. And the thing is, hey, Scott's Life, thank you so much. That's so sweet. Listen, when you guys reach out like that, I appreciate it so much, because again, as I state, I don't put ads in the middle of this, and because I know people, I don't know how you can go to sleep to my voice, but do you. But the thing is I don't want, if the guests, I do enough interrupted and jumping in. I got paranormal Tourette's and I can't help it. But if you're listening to something, there's an ad in the middle of that, I don't put those in. You do have control of that. And, that's why I tell people that are trying to do ASMR or telling stories so people can sleep. Just put the ads in the beginning, at the end, and leave that middle open, because they want to put cards and all this jump stuff and elevating and turning down the volume and stuff. And nothing's worse than listening to somebody tell a story, and then, you know what I mean? Right in the middle of it, you got this, blasting commercial or something in the middle. So I appreciate it very much, because I do that for you guys. And we really only make stuff on the ads here. So if we get demonetized, I don't make it either. And we do that a lot. So I appreciate it very much. And I appreciate you guys being here in the chat too, because we get a lot of wisdom out of the chat. And I do try to read all the comments and the conversations and stuff you guys have in there. It's good stuff, because it shows we're not alone in the paranormal, shows we're not alone in the conspiracy facts that we've, brought forth, and shows us that we're not alone in the fight. It can get rough out there. It can get tough, especially if families aren't talking to each other and people are breaking up. We've seen a lot go over the past couple of years, but that's it. People are splitting, and it's like The Shift. It's like that movie, The Shift, that's out now. I don't know who's seen it. I highly recommend it. Because it's telling a little bit about what we're going through, and it's almost like it's almost like the rapture, but different. It's like a bunch of people wind up staying in this dark, dismal, gray place where all these bad things keep happening, all this negative stuff keeps happening. And then these other people kind of send into a parallel universe that's running the same, but brighter and more hope, and everything's, more positive things are happening, and the people have more positive attitudes, and it's magnifying, just like the darkness is magnifying on the other dimension. It's crazy. And the only thing that gets people out of this darker dimension is the light.
It's true.
Every story about spiritual warfare, the only thing that wins is the light. So stay in the light. And if, salt water and holy water cleaning your house or your car, or, salt baths for you, rose perfume, herbs, and, things, pick the ones that are work for you. Pick the ones you're going to do them. You're going to be consistent with it. Do your fire gazing, do your grounding, do your showers of light, do all of these things. Do all of them, shift them up. But give yourself as much advantage as you can possibly muster up and do for yourself. Right, Lynn?
Yes. Yeah. You
Thank you, Vixen Doe. Thank you, sweetheart. Funny
Oh.
honey treats for Boo and Spirit. Oh, thank you so much. They rotten. They are so bougie boys, and they are big, and they are fat. They're happy. They're so happy. They're gingers. They hibernate, and then they come out, and they're absolute rabid monkeys, and then they hibernate again, and they love you, and they throw themselves at your feet, and they want belly rubs, and they're so spoiled. I mean, I couldn't possibly do more for. If I can, please send me suggestions, because I'm thinking hammocks, and I'd buy them cars. It's a good thing we're poor, because the whole place would be filled with cat toys. And they play in the boxes. They have a great time. They got a Cookie Monster for Christmas, and the way Spirit, when we opened it up and gave it to him, it's just this big kicker that's a blue fur. He ran down the hall with it, and Bucephus picked it's like a golf. It almost looks like golf turf, and it's got holes in it, and there's a mouse in there, and you got to find it, and you can put things in it. He loves to dig in and hunt for things, and he claimed that, and they're just very happy. And Helen got her treats, so that's all she cares about. So they're doing great. Thank you so much, Vixen. Though very thoughtful. Thank you all. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the comments, and thank you for being here, Lynn. If you want to take a little intermission real quick, I'll shut up, and and I've got a couple of little ghost hits. They're about 10 minutes, but I had one that I've always wanted to show you.
Okay.
If you want to get up, get something to drink, or get some tea or whatever. But it's I always think of you when I see it, and it's one last year that I brought out, and we talked a little bit about it with another guest, and it's almost like right place, right time kind of thing. But the way this guy is talking about it, it made me so happy because I wish I had more friends like this, where he just meets a friend, and when she comes to town, she likes to go to local graveyards. So she's a psychic medium, I believe. And she likes to go into the graveyards and cross any souls that might be there needing help to cross over. It's just like something she adds on to her little, itinerary there when she's popping into town for the weekend. I just love that. And he's just so chill with it. He's like, okay, you want to go to the cemetery? Yeah, I'd love to go. She just gets out of the car and takes off. And something happens with him. And I think it's so interesting. And it's one of, like, I would say, like, one of the top hits, I think, of that we played on the show here in 2020. There were so many of them, that I really liked a lot. But you didn't get to see this one. So I'd love to play it. Are you interested? Are you cool with that?
Oh, yeah, I'd love it. Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to get up during this, like I said, it's about 10 minutes or so. I guess you can still hear if you could take your phone with you if you want to get something, or turn it up, whatever. But it's really neat. And it's with our friends, our wonderful friends in Canada again, that put out Ghostly Encounters. And with our wonderful, I forget his name now. You know me with names, but Lawrence. I almost had it. It looks. Never mind. So anyway, let's play this and see what you think, Lynn. Okay, it's a great little story, but it's very heart warming as well. So here we go, chat. Go ahead, honey.
Camera off for a minute, but I am in the room listening. I'm just going to fix some tea. I've got it on full blast.
Cool beans, baby. Here we go.
I'm born and raised in Kingston. I lived here all my life. I've traveled quite a bit all over the United States and all over Canada. I like other places and I like to visit other places, but Kingston's basically my hometown. Maybe because not only did I grow up here, but I also have a lot of knowledge of the history of the city of Kingston. Well, I've always been interested in history, whether it's the American Civil War or Kingston history, and Kingston has a lot of history. The very early 1800s, when we had so many Irish ships coming over and Scottish and so on, people were coming over there to build the Rideau Canal, but they were coming over there dying of typhoid and malaria and all kinds of diseases like that. And Kingston didn't have a cemetery, except for where this Skelton Park was. So they used that as a cemetery. And they used it right up until about 1893. And in 1893, they decided to move that cemetery, and they were exhuming the graves. And the people in the neighborhood were complaining because of the stench, and money was short. So they just bulldozed down all the tombstones. It was not an easy task, and at one point was finally given up. And so they just covered it over with grass and sod or earth or whatever, and it became a park. So they just left them. They don't know where they are. They estimate today there's somewhere around 1,400, at least that many, or if not more, graves. Unless you study the history of Kingston, you would never know that that was Kingston's very first cemetery. Skelton Park isn't a place that I would go to in particular, but a friend of mine was visiting from out of town, named Margaret, who was into sending people into the light. But one of the things that they do is visit graveyards and walk into the graveyards, and if there's any spirits there that have not yet moved on into the light, they send them to the light. And whether I believe it or I don't believe it, I guess I certainly believe it now, because that particular night, it involved me. Skelton Park isn't a place that I would go to in particular, but a friend of mine was visiting from out of town named Margaret, who was into sending people into the light. But one of the things that they do is visit graveyards and walk into the graveyards, and if there's any spirits there that have not yet moved on into the light, they send them to the light. This one particular night when Margaret was in town, she said, "Do you have any more haunted places you can take me to?" Because I had did this sort of thing before. In the daytime, I had stopped at certain little cemeteries and let Margaret walk through the cemetery, and then she'd come back and get in the car, and away we'd go. I had no experiences or feelings about it one way or the other. There is a place, I said, not too many people know about. It's called Skelton Park. It was nicknamed Skelton Park because it used to be a graveyard. And I said, there are a lot of people still buried there. Well, can we go there? So here I was, 10 o'clock at night, drizzly, rainy, foggy, pulled up to the park. And I said, this is it. And I said, how long are you going to be? She said, oh, I don't know, whatever it takes. I said, okay, I'll be waiting. So out she got. I saw her going, and then all of a sudden she just disappeared. It's hard to keep track of time when these things happen. I want to say 5 minutes, but maybe it was 10 minutes. And all of a sudden, the wind started blowing, the car started shaking a little bit. And then, sometimes when you recall things, it's difficult. Then all of a sudden I seen these men, women, children reaching out, and I'm looking at them through the windshield. They're reaching, and I'm not scared of them because I don't feel evil from them. And they were in, like, not clothes that we would wear today. The clothes were tattered or ripped, or maybe they were very poor people. Remember, they come over on these immigrant ships. They might have had just the clothes they had on their back. And when they died, that's the clothes they were buried in. And they were worn and they were tattered, and that's probably why I was seeing that. And then, of course, I started hearing I call it wailing. You know, help us, help us. It was kind of an eerie sensation to be looking at these people, you know, reaching out for you. It's like, please help me. I think that sort of the communication I got from these people is that they were trying to say, we're here, we're here, we're here. Can you hear us? And that's the part I think that bothered me, because there was young children. I didn't believe for a minute that my life was in danger. I just looked at them and wished that there was some way I could help them. I just knew that Margaret had something to do with this. And I thought, gee, I wish you'd hurry up and come back here. They sort of started fading. And bang, they were all gone. The car door opened up and Margaret got in. I was crying, and Margaret says, what's wrong? I said, don't you ever bring me here again. Never. I said, I don't want any part of this. She said, what happened? I stepped on the accelerator and started getting away from the park as quick as possible. And I proceeded to tell her the story. And I said, did you master what you come to do? Oh, yes, she said, there were a lot of spirits there. She said, I sent a lot of them into the light. But she said, there's still a lot of them there that I need to come back. I said, not with me, you know. I think to myself, do people get stuck in between here and there? And if so, are that many people buried in Skelton Park? Are they still waiting to go into the light? I've never been back to Skelton Park since. I can go back in the daytime, but I don't think I'd ever go back on a dark, rainy night again, or any time at night for that matter.
John wonders if spirits can be stuck between this world and the next. Our expert says the attachment to this world may be to the dead person's physical remains, and this might be more intense if something violent or particularly tragic was connected with their death. John and Chuck were aware of the history surrounding their ghostly encounters, but for both of them, the ghost's appearance radically changed their connection to the past, a past that will live on through them.
Today it would be a much different story. Today, when human remains are found, whether it's in a wall from a building they're tearing down or whatever it is, today it means something. These were human beings at one time. These people have a right for us to know when they find these bodies in the woods. Who was this person? What happened to them? I realized, gee, there is another world out there. There are people that have not yet went into that light.
Well, there you go. I don't know, Ted. I absolutely believe this dude. I don't think he would be lying. There's not a thing about his body language, his micro expressions, or the way he told the story that would make me I believe him. And what do you think, honey?
Me too. And you and I have seen this. I mean, I remember walking past a graveyard, for lack of a better word, and seeing them congregate. And when they got used to my routine, they would actually wait for me in the trees. And at one point I came through and crossed those of you over that want to cross. A whole slew of them came, and you've seen that too. And some of the have in Pennsylvania where
absolutely.
You've seen this kind of thing, and you've helped these souls to cross over.
And it's almost like people have to realize too, it doesn't mean that everybody there say is buried in that graveyard or that they're stuck. Some of them are there and they're waiting with other people that won't quite get the right number down, and the other were noticed the light of the gathering of the spirits, and they were just like passing through. Listen, there's 1,000 different ways spirits get to places. Listen, how many stories you heard? Portal in the closet. They're just passing through. How many stories from young kids? I'd wake up in the middle of the night and people would come out of the linen closet, walk down the hall, go down the stairs and out the front door and into the park and cross the park and whatever. They showed it great kind of visual of that in Poltergeist when all the spirits were coming down the stairs, and that university paranormal group was there, and they were like, did you get it on camera? Are you getting this? Look at all of them. Look at all of them. And this is it. I don't know what it is about the following. And, I guess it's like, in some cases, like we are. How many times you stood in line and you're like, I'm not even sure why I'm here. Why am I standing in this line or waiting for something, a DMV or Disney World ride or whatever you might be doing? You're standing there waiting in line. Listen, how many people saw Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead and all those movies back in the 70s and early 80s that they kind of leaned towards what they were attracted to in life? They went to the mall. They went to the grocery store. They stood in line. They waited, whatever. They tried to get in cars and do all the things. So I think it's very much like that, Lynn, and that's why there's such a gathering, like you said, of these souls in the trees, and along the fence line, and poking out from behind the wood line, and stuff, and behind gravestones. It's crazy. It
It is.
really is.
The sad part is these are the souls that have not crossed over. The ones that have crossed over, they come back and forth, but they don't. I mean, they may be around where they've been buried, but it's not like a negative thing. Whereas some of these people that have chosen at the time of death not to cross over, they're lingering, like you said. They're going to the grocery store. They still have their addiction. They still have their mental illness if they died with it. Their cause of death still
They
shows.
haven't got their pockets emptied.
Exactly.
Again, and I keep saying that, thinking, because listen, I see this stuff to myself. I'm driving, I'm trying to, like, not lose my, on somebody, but I'm in Jersey, and the driving, oh my gosh. And and the foot traffic and the bicycle traffic, if you catch my drift, in the sanctuary,
Exactly.
let me tell you, there's been an up of that real quick. And it's like nobody's watching. They're walking in front of cars, and just walking out, putting babies in push carriages, and they push them right in front of your car. And it's like, you just want to get a dash cam. I got my son a dash cam for Christmas. I thought this might get you out of a world of shit, and I said, and if we're really lucky, you might get a Bigfoot in the wood line or something, you might get something in the trees or something on the road along the way. You never know, because, we all watch a lot of Nukes Top 5. So
Yep,
it could happen. It could happen.
Happen. I mean, and how many times have you also been on investigations where, like, you've gone into an area, say a tavern or a bar, and mafia's in there, and they don't want to cross over because they're there.
Yep.
They don't want to get in trouble
Yes.
with their crossover. So
yes,
there's that dynamic as well.
free will. That's the thing, and I can't stress it enough. But I'll tell you, they're going to understand as best as I can explain it before I walk away, because I'm like, are you sure? You know what I mean? Because time is crazy. And I heard Amy Allen say it really good the other day. I was listening to one of her old podcast things, and she was saying she has a degree. I don't want to misquote her, but it has something to do with therapy. In one of the lines there, because it's therapy. You're talking to somebody who, like Linda said, you don't know what their mindset is. You're really tested a lot. It's why I kind of chuckle when people go, they've gone into and I'm not belittling it. I mean, if it's a hobby and it's learning, and you're trying to dip your toe, and even if you're an expert, paranormal investigator, whatever that may be, how do you know? You've got an EVP on your, from a male voice, clear as day. It's a class A, no doubt about it. Right. And it's saying whatever it's saying. You can't just take that and go, okay, Jim's haunting the place. No, you don't know that that's Jim. It could be somebody that followed you, somebody from the front yard, somebody from the accident on the corner, somebody from the place that it was before, something that followed somebody else, 10 bazillion things. And this poor guy is sitting here talking about, it breaks my heart at the end. I think that's the worst part, where he's sitting there saying, well, nowadays it would be different, because now if you find a body, now this is true. If a construction crew goes out and finds bones, what do you think he does? Think heavy Union, New York, New Jersey, maybe Philly, your construction site, and you come along, but are you calling that in? Because here's what would happen. If the right people got called, they would stop that. You would lose a lot of money. So what do you think happens with bones? But there are things that get through the cracks, and somebody is putting, I don't know, a root cellar or something, or a storage thing in their basement, and come across it. Now they're going to go through all the, bells and whistles. They're going to have to get the permits, and the local historical society, and the county coroner, and all these people are going to have to show up, because they're going to run them through the ringer, and get as much taxes and things they can, and whatever. You know how that's just the thing. It's terrible. But you can't say that it's different now because we just did that Black Hope Cemetery episode not too long ago, and it blew my mind, Lynn. If you listen to the story and you get the idea of around about the decade that this happened in, early 80s, right? Your mind automatically goes, hey, yo, I remember early 80s, Poltergeist came out.
Mm-hmm.
So surely to Pete, this Black Hope Cemetery with they just moved the headstones, if there were even headstones. The house and the church, then the little school that was there is dilapidated, so they just put condos or homes over the bodies, and all these things started happening. I mean, people serious. 6 members of one family dead from turbo cancer. When you go to your doctor on Monday, you're fine, and Friday you're fourth stage. I mean, literally, it's not hyperbole here.
Oh, no,
This really happened. Yeah, even with people just visiting this home, right? So anyway, the Black Hope Cemetery thing too it was like the whole street, the whole block, everybody in that area was having something. Some houses were worse than others. Some families got it worse than others, right? But everybody had something. And in some cases, you didn't even know what, because they were there for 2 months and gone.
Yes.
And then they can't rent it. So this is going on. Like I said, too, the bodies are buried actually in the yard to the point where they dug it up, digging a pool, and more things started happening. And there's shadow people in the hallway and the bedrooms, and people getting flung out of bed, and just the gauntlet, right? So you think about that and you think, okay, those people trying to sue the developer, they're trying to sue everybody that's involved with who might do, and they're getting the runaround, the big shuffle, right? And you think about it, you go, okay, this is the idea. Spielberg got this and had the screenwriters come in and bounced off of this thing, surely, for Poltergeist, right? No.
Yes. No?
No. You know why?
Why?
Because in Long Island and some other place that I'm not going to misquote it, I just can't remember, there was a similar situation where they just moved the headstones, left the bodies, and built a development. And that's where Spielberg and the screenwriters for Poltergeist got it from, because when Poltergeist came out, it was in the theaters, probably right in the town where the Black Hope Cemetery thing happened, and the teenagers and stuff. And it blew my mind, because right away, Lynn, I'm thinking they probably went to the local mall and looked up on the marquee for the theater there and saw Poltergeist playing. And can you imagine living through this and actually a movie based on something very similar case, which again blows my mind, because how many cases like this are there? That's 3.
Yeah.
Just in the early 80s.
Yeah. And there would even imagine, probably,
This is mind-blowing. Right? So that's why when the gentleman here in the story is saying it would be different now, bodies are respected, and things are handled well. Again, this is part of the, let's call it what it is, the psyopable part of our minds that want to believe, because it's easier to believe the lie than it is to know the truth, that no, it's not gotten any better. Every place is probably built on some type of burial ground, whether it was a massacre or a family plot or whatever, you name it. Especially look at all the battleground that's around me. How many New Jersey developments do you think is built on a Revolutionary War skirmish field? You know what I mean?
I do.
It's not just where they've hollowed it out and made little museums and stuff. It's all over the place. When you go to Gettysburg or Fredericksburg, you might be able to go to Marie, Heights and look at the wall, where the Angel of Marie Heights was a great story there, Battle of Franklin, the Civil War. Anyway, it's the whole damn town. You can't tell me you had a town with, maybe 1,500 people in it, And, the stock and everything that would go, reasonable to have for that amount of people in a small town, and then have 100,000 converge upon it and have a battle, and it didn't affect everywhere. That's a lot of people.
That is a lot.
But you go to one museum and you see part of the field and you see a couple of things. I mean, depending, there's bigger ones than others, like Antietam, and Franklin's pretty big, but Gettysburg, of course, is massive. But there's lots of them like that. But there's some where the towns, what didn't have the funds. So it might just be a house that stood during that time, or an old farm, and it turned into a museum, or it's, what, or they've converged a couple of those buildings and put them together. They're not really where they were, that kind of thing, where they're trying to conserve as best they can, but, look at the development next to it. You don't think it's affected? I did a story, not too long ago in Chicago. Chicago's eaten up with it. And God bless them, I had Lon Strickler on here, and I'm thinking, they have a massive amount of these humanoid things and these, winged creatures and monkey nutbag, invisible monkeys climbing trees. People are seeing these things, and they're not monkeys, but they move like monkeys, so that's what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
But they very much have this very predatorish kind of camouflage, like almost like a mirrored kind of reflective invisibility. And they're just give off this horrible, foreboding, negative force energy kind of thing. People are seeing more shadow figures, more Hat Man type things. And of course, you've got all the violence. And, same in New Orleans, same in St. Louis, Missouri, same in, I'm sure New York probably blows it.
Yeah, people have got these cams out in the wilderness that are looking for deer, and some of the things that they are catching on those cams of what
yes,
and shadow figures and things like that. A couple of people are like, I'll never go camping again because I'm not worried about the bears. It's the other stuff, that I don't want to be out there with, because they're catching them now.
The dogmen.
Yes.
The dogmen sightings. That's really amped up. Listen, you can go back. Listen, I have some blurry areas when I start talking about werewolf and dogman, but I was convinced in the beginning. I haven't really moved much on knowing in my own mind, those are two different things. And it's almost mind-blowing to get to that conclusion, because you think, okay, well, there's two different things out there like that. Yes, I would have to say yes. And then you have the natural separation of species due to culture, environment, everything, just necessity, and evolution of, like, say, the Rougarou versus, but I think the dogman is something totally just different. And I don't know if they've come over interdimensionally, because years back, I want to say almost a decade or more, that was one of the first things I ever heard from witness statements of watching things crawl through a portal, was what is described now as a dogman, with either orange reflective energy. I don't want to say orange eyes, but this is where it's coming from. It's eye sockets, whatever, in either an orange or a red. And now I'm hearing multiple cases of Bigfoot doing same, like angry and worried, anxious, trying to get you out of its area, whatever, protecting young, red eyes. And it's not a reflective as you would like a deer in headlights kind of deal.
Exactly.
So I'm trying to get people to understand this is a connection, because you also have this with ghosts, specters, wraiths, whatever you want to call them, and orbs, as well as other paranormal manifested energies, such as mists, fogs,
Right.
and these energy, more so than an orb and a sparkle cluster. Let's just put it that way. I know that's a strange way to describe it, but you also get these sparkle clusters of energy that come at you where you'll hear this formed. And then it kept getting, the more particles seemed to solidify until it became a form, you know, and however, of course, the amount of form and how clear it is and whether or not you can see through it, or it manifested to us almost like a solid, full-on person apparition right there in front of you, or it stayed vague. Let's just put it that way. It differs between people and their experience, as well as the ghosts and their experience. But it's all the same, because it's just the amount of energy. This is a guess now. The amount of energy that it's collected, the amount of energy that the ghost is able to continue to collect, because listen, this takes a lot of energy to produce these kind of things. That's why you hear little things like, man, if it could throw a chair, we've got some power here. If it can move a refrigerator, here we go. We got to get the good incense out, right? So anyway, that's the thing for me. It's looking at this and saying it's all connected. You can't tell me if a pink mist means accommodating and love, and orbs that come in a blue, kind of thing. They're just, they're there and they're just chill. But things that come at you with this red energy, this glowing orange, more angry, more on the defense, more trying to get your attention. This is one of the first things I ever saw. And it would be fantastic for me if towards the end of my journey, right, that I could bring it full circle and go, this makes it's all connected, because we're all doing the same damn thing. It's all energy.
It is.
Angry is red. Danger is red. It's a universal, extra dimensional thing.
That's true.
That tells me everything is connected. It's so many things telepathic, which is why you come in the beginning of this, thoughts. We are responsible for our thoughts. This is a scary thing.
Yes, it is. And another thing too that is so important for coming into this new year is to understand how powerful the mind really is, and that if you are wanting good things, you need to
manifest that.
And through your thought, and you need to be clear. I drive down the road, my little Toyota Corolla, singing my song. I'm driving my new Volvo sedan now. I'm driving my new Volvo sedan. I've got the color picked out and everything. And it's not because it's an expensive car, it's because it's safe and low maintenance. So, that I would pick something like that. But you have to envision it. You have to make your statement about it. Yeah. Not, I want, not, I'm going to get, but I have now today. And the thing is when people manifest, the thing that they leave off is like, I have the winning lotto ticket. You have to not just let your thing float out in the universe, because it'll just be left.
And how greedy is it too, though? Also, you have to think about it on that line. It's like people ask me a lot. You get it a lot. Mediums get it all the time, especially good ones.
Yeah,
why can't you manifest the lottery? Why can't you tell me the lottery numbers? Why can't you give me a bag of money? Why can't you? It's told to us over and over in childhood tales with Make a Wish and the monkey's paw, and everything costs.
Yes, and maybe
you have to weigh it out.
Yeah, maybe you're not intended in this lifetime to have the winning lottery ticket. And I was just using that as an example.
Oh yeah, no. It sparked a thought on that, and it's so important to understand. It's like it's got to balance out. It's like you said, maybe you're not supposed to have that winning lottery ticket. What are you going through now, and what are you supposed to glean from that experience? Also, what's happening to you, attacking you, or taking you out on the, you're paying attention over here, just taking you out over here. Maybe it manifests as a coworker who's irritating as all get out, and you just can't. You have to deal with it, and you have to decide, I cannot change how that person is and what they're doing. I can only change how I react to it. My first thing is to be pissed about it. I'm on the defensive. Right away, I got that warrior attitude where I'm going to stand my ground, and I have to go, let her have it.
That's true.
That is the hardest thing for me. And then I do that 2 or 3 times. You know, even if the worst thing is being an old broad who knows their shit when they're doing something, and have some 22-year-old come in that doesn't know jack, come in and tell you something about what you're doing in the wrong category, or, you know, whatever, or to tell you to do something. And I've had this a lot, because in the military, you go in and you might be older, and you got some butterbar comes in just fresh out of, you know, out of officer school. And, you know, you got these old sergeants that absolutely day in, day out know exactly what their MOS is and what your MOS is and how everybody should be doing their MOS. And that's the one you want to get you in and out of a bad situation, because they're going to get you through. And this butterbar comes in and starts telling everybody what to do. Well, that's, you know, it gets people killed. But in everyday life, it's hard, you know, to humble yourself in that way and to not react in an angry, you know, in an angry manner. And so many of these things will come at you like arrows. You know, you think about it like that. You're one of the 300, you know, it's like you got your shield. Well, we let our shields down, you know,
We do.
by distraction and by fear that lets them in. Now you're off your game. You know, is it affecting you immediately now? Is there anything you can do about it now? Okay, no, take care of the fires that are closest to you. And
Right.
you have the tools to back stuff off. And you also have the knowledge to not invite or make silly choices or little yeses that give them footing and give them ground and give them a crack to get in. They got their foot in the door now. They're the Fuller Brush man coming in from hell, you know, and that's how they get you. And when you're paying attention to that one, they got 2 more behind you ready to come in through the bathroom window.
That's why it's
So-
so important to put not only keeping your auric field healthy, your chakras opened, but also you can envision with your mind. You can close your eyes and envision mirrors all around you facing outward.
Yes.
Anything that's coming at you that's negative from another person will be repelled and sent back to that person.
Love the mirror. And the bubble, the white bubble, same way. Same white light bubble. You can imagine, and I know this sounds nuts, folks, but hey, who doesn't look in the mirror? You're brushing your teeth, you're doing whatever. Can you stop a second and turn off the water and just get quiet for a moment? Maybe shut off the YouTube, the inner tubes, you know, blaring in your ear, the morning news or the weather or whatever it may be. Just quiet for a moment, just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then just imagine, look inside you, right in your center of your chest, right over your heart, and just imagine a white light coming out from there and pulling out. And if it helps you to do your hands with it, do it. Because anything that helps you manifest and envision this, do it. And bring your arms around and just imagine that whole white light bubble goes around you. And you state out to your spirit guides, to your loved ones, to your higher self, to the energy around you. This bubble will remain all day. It will carry me through my day. It will repel all negativity. It will not allow any intrusion. My feelings will be my own. You know, I'm going to do this, this, and this. You make your little mantra for your day, and then you close that whole thing off with your strength and your faith and an adamant, that is how it's going to be. So may it be. And then you go on about your day, and you will see people like coming and kind of avoiding you. Take that as a warning, because here I'm telling you, take that as a warning, because it shows you some people sometimes. And it's the same thing. It's no different than if you have a trusted animal, a dog, a cat, a whatever, a wolf, a horse, and they don't like somebody. They're picking up on that energy. And now you've got another extra tool to show you, okay, maybe I should, you know, keep my distance there, or keep my eye on that, or whatever, because you need to be aware. And that's exercising your awareness, your peripheral vision, your discernment, It's why we do so many of these shows, to look at something and then break it apart and talk about it, because discernment, Sherlock Holmes, we need you now. You're going to have to sort some things, and I hope you have found people in your area that you can get with, or people you feel close to, that give you energy back and don't just take energy from you. Because I'm telling you, the spirits are walking, but the good ones are there too. And they have to have the good ones have to have your permission as well. So call out to your spirit guides and go, okay, I need you now. Everybody gets spirit guides. They can
Yes.
confirm this during your lifetime and your journey, and they change while you walk. And if you are going through something, you need a specialist to come in, here comes one, and then you have one that stays with you from probably throughout lifetimes, birth to death, and throughout many lifetimes. And then you've got specialists that come in. Am I right, Lynn?
Yes, and something else that's very, very important in addition to that is your guides will stand back and allow you to have your freedom of
Yes.
choice. However, if you need them, you need to ask them to help you and be specific.
100%.
If you want the blue popsicle, don't just ask for a popsicle, ask for a blue popsicle, and that you want it now.
And have them make it obvious.
And back. Yes, you need to ask.
Yeah.
But they're on standby because until they're asked. So please do ask them.
Yep. Happy New Year to you, Daniel. And, on our way out here, I'd like to say hi to everybody that we missed here and everybody that's come in and stayed with us tonight. And we so appreciate it. And I wish I could stay up with you guys till the new year here in the United States. It is a little bit before 10 right now. So I don't think I've made a New Year's in a long time. I'm getting old, folks,
Yeah,
but I'll tell you, while I'm here, I give you everything I got, but I don't think, can you stay up till 12 tonight?
No, I'm getting in my jammies when we're done, and I'm crawling in my blanket. So
I'm going to watch some history. I've been on a history buff. If you haven't watched it, here's a little gift for you guys. If you're a history buff and you love trades, artisanship, history, any of that, so many different things. There is on YouTube, look up Edwardian farm, Victorian farm at Christmas time. There's a couple of different, I know they'll pop up. That's why I'm giving to you funny like this. And there's another one. It's wartime Christmas, World War II. You're going to get this history channel that pops up with the wonderful Ruth Goodman and her cohorts. What they do, Lynn, is they'll get an estate, say, out in the country, out in the UK, and there'll be an old demolished, say, Tudor farm or something along this lines that hasn't been occupied. And one of them was 50 years. And they give up a year of their lives. Freelance historian Ruth Gordon, and usually two guys, and both of these guys were architects and historians, and they go and they have to live in that time period. They have to use the tools. They have to do the things. I watched this woman do laundry for 5 days. 5 days, 4 o'clock in the morning, she gets up and she's doing the laundry, taking out the stains. But here's the deal. She'd tell you how they got out ink, still works today, how to get out glue, all the things around the house. So there's things that you guys can use now, things, how they stored potatoes, how they did this, how they did that, how they built certain things, how the mortar that they made and used. But there's one for every time period. And I think the one I'm watching now is how to build the castle. Very interesting, because it's all this medieval stuff, and it's fantastic, the costuming and everything. So again, when you watch these things, you're not only learning or getting your little bit that you're interested in. What you're getting is a reaffirmation that sometimes it takes a village. Having people around you that think like you and want to preserve your well-being and their well-being, and are willing to throw in their trade and their knowledge and whatever that they may do to work together for the betterment of, a small group or whatever, whether it's family like the Waltons or a whole town, what you're into, the people around you, and with internet and things like that, of course, proceed with caution. But There's ways you can find other groups and like-minded people, and even if it's just to get ideas like out in this chat. But you're going to need all those things, and don't forget that because you're here and we're talking about what we're talking about, don't forget that you're at that stage and at that level of understanding where you can add in all these extra things, because you're not in the muck and the mire of that other dimension like the shift. You're up here and you're refining all of your talents and your knowledge and your discernment, and reaching out and going, how can I give back with that knowledge? And how do I protect myself while I do it? How do I get through my day and reflect all this stuff off of me? Because I know what's going on. It's warfare, and arrows are going to fly. Machetes are going to come out. Tricks are going to be, played, and lies are going to be told. And, people are going to be, on both sides of that, fighting for everything they got, So the best thing you can do is fight through it and float over it. Like I said, ride the wave.
Can you hear
here. Do I hear what?
Do you hear that? Can you hear the fireworks? There's fireworks going off.
Are there? Happy New Year, everybody. That's the thing. Lynn, thanks for being here. What would you like to take us out with? Tell us what you're doing.
Give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Important. Also, some things that are coming up. Well, for one thing, if you want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on www.lynnmonet.com. There's a way to email me through there. I have my books are on Amazon. They're in Barnes & Noble. They're in Walmart. You can get them just about everywhere. I like it when you buy them through my website, and that way I can personalize them for you and sign them.
Hey, Yoda girl.
Also, I have coming up in January, they're flying me out to Denver, which is the new Hollywood, to Beyond Reality with George Norrie.
George Norrie, thank you.
I don't know for sure coming out, but I will definitely let you know.
Fantastic.
Also coming up a podcast coming up in South Africa. So I've got a couple of things going, and I will be on with Cisco if she'll still have me at the end of the month of January.
Yes, absolutely.
Some highlights. I always love being on with Cisco. She's my spiritual sister, and I appreciate all my family. Everybody's out of 6 of us have passed away except me. So, and I have a half sister who I absolutely adore. But you're definitely my spiritual sister. So
sweet. Thank you, baby.
Ted
says we're lightweights because it's 3 a.m. where Ted is right now. Happy New Year to you, Ted. We love you and your Waggy Tails and everybody else too. I can't thank you guys enough for coming in. Go ahead, Lynn. Here's your website. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you, Ted. Because my sister has passed in June, and then
sorry.
Passed. Bill's my partner of 10 years. Bill's father passed away about 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago.
So many.
Back to back, just stuff.
Yeah. I know, baby. And it's hitting everybody. And that's why, tonight, I didn't even know what we were going to really talk about tonight. I had a feeling that they were just going to take over and put the message out there. But that's the thing. The new year, here we are. Happy New Year. And I'm going to play my little video again. And I highly recommend you watch it. Take the moment. It's a minute, 52 seconds. It's got great music by, it's written out there. I don't want to state the wrong one. I think Jammy Jams does one. But the thing is this. In these old clips, you're watching people dance and ring in the new year in 1935, and some of them are in the 20s, and some of them are a little bit sooner than that, and and they're that one with Poseidon Adventure where they're all going Happy New Year, and we all know that the big tidal wave is coming, and they don't know it, and they're just going about their day, and they're drawn in. If you know the movie. And I'm talking about the old one, not the remake. If you know the movie, they're breaking down everybody's character. You have the older couple who's worried about how they look and what they're going to wear to dinner and where their cabin is and do they have a view. And then you have the complainer. And then, of course, you got the young couple that's probably fighting or got a divorce and they're shoved on this ship together and have to, that kind of abrasive little thing, that love triangle stuff. you've got all these different characters, but here's the deal. That's us, you know, and I'm not saying don't celebrate. I'm saying celebrate, but you're celebrating in a different way. And I think in a deeper way, because you understand the cost. You understand the journey. You understand that some people were watching go through their darkness right now. And some people are having to pick sides on whether they want to stay in that darkness or fight to get to the light. You know, you can reach in all you want and show them, and I highly recommend you do. But until they're ready to come over, you know, I mean, they got to go through their own thing. And that hurts sometimes, especially if it's a loved one. You know, it hurt when we went through it. And just because you went through it doesn't mean you're not going to go through more. Because each time it's like watching them. If you want to watch one of these history shows, or if you know anything about tribal culture or anything like that, the way different people worked with metal and the demasking of a sword and the hardening and the high heat and then the quick cooling off at just the right moment in time can make that the hardest metal that can break rock and build a castle or build a home or do whatever you're doing with these tools. But these tools are honed, you work with them, you practice with them, and you use them to get through whatever you need to do to get better at the end of your day than you started at the beginning, whether it's getting through your job or getting through a sickness or helping a friend or paying your bills, whatever your day is.
That's
you
a
need
great
these tools. Right?
Absolutely. Yes.
You need these tools. And go see Lynn, get her books. If you want to get scared, you want something around the fire, and you're trying to save money and you don't want to go out to have fun, listen, get back to the old ways. They didn't cost, you know, listen, this is the kind of stuff to have something in your hands that you could, you know, if your electronics go down or something like that, good
Which
old
could-
books.
Which
Books.
could-
It could happen.
Yeah.
Books. Make sure you've got your everything written down. Recipes, how to use an appliance. If you know, if you're going off your phone and you just thinking I can Google it, maybe that won't be there. So
Yeah.
you know, in these downtimes, maybe print out some of those things and some of those instructions. Maybe you're the person who knows how to use the generator or knows how to do, you know, whatever it may be, whatever the task may be. But maybe you're not there when it has to be done and somebody else could use those instructions. So think about little things that aren't going to cost a lot that can help your situation better, but also be thinking, like Lynn and I said tonight, about yourself, you know, in your salt baths, and might be rose perfume or rose essence oil, just to know that you've got that goodness around you, because it's not just what it does to negativity around you. It's what it does for you and your senses too. It elevates you and your vibration, you know. And so many people don't get that. Look, man, I did this interview, and I'm not going to say who or what, but it was the worst thing I've ever been on in my life. It was an hour long, and I was coming into it, sliding in, going, okay, ghost stories. I got they want this, they want Christmas ghost stories, holiday stuff. I got that down, no problem. 34 minutes on the title of my show. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, I couldn't believe it. And I'm thinking, is anybody would hear a ghost story? I mean, the stuff that these people were talking about had nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. And I'm thinking, you have the opportunity to at least be entertaining in the paranormal field. And here you've got somebody that's up to their eyebrows in ghost stories. And, you know, we're what are we talking? What are we doing? What is this? You know, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I was like, okay, you're like, what it felt like is if you're a bartender and you got that asshole that comes in and sits down at the bar and just wants to give like shitty jokes and kind of like, not really inappropriate, but annoying. And they think they're funny as hell. And you're just look, dude, what kind of beer do you want? Because I got stuff to do. And you know what I mean? And it's just that agitation. This is what it was like on this thing. And I'm sitting back going, man, this is just, you know, and it's that same feeling. That's how we're all feeling right now about the world, because, you know, all this agitation's coming at you, and you know what you know, you can't unknow it.
That's true. And it's not, It's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. So we're all on eggshells.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just be prepared.
And
Keep
the only thing, yeah, and the only thing that makes that better is knowledge,
That's right.
doing something about your situation, making your situation as best as you possibly can, and seeing these things and understanding, just like the serenity prayer, the wisdom, show me the things I can change, things I can't change, you got to let it go. And the
Yep.
wisdom to be able to tell the difference, because so many people are trying to pick their track right now. You know what track you're on, and you have the time now because you have that knowledge to refine where you are and what's important to you. My most important thing to you is to remember that you have that light. Like I said, I struggle every time something like that happens, and I kind of go, all right, go ahead. I don't care. And it's not really, it's almost like I'm walking around all day going, this is where I keep the F's that I have left to give. You see any in there? But it's not that. It's you're doing that on stuff that doesn't matter. We're so used to picayune all this. We got too much time on our hands. Because I'm telling you, if you were back in the medieval time or in the 1300s living in these castles, you did not have time for this shit. It was, if you didn't do your stuff and you didn't do your part, you didn't eat, you didn't sleep, you didn't survive. You were sick, you did this or whatever, and everybody played a part. And in your world, however large that may be, your circle, it's the same. But you have to start with you. And light workers are having it really hard right now, but I think we're coming out of it because we felt it coming for so long that with that anticipation kind of had a drag on it. You know what I mean? And now it's kind of let go, and it's like, oh man, and things are so, you can see them faster. So it seems like so much, why? Because there is so much, we're just here yelling, release the doves. We know how all this ends. We know what doesn't work. Why are we repeating the same things over again? And we're waiting for everybody else to catch up, and that's the hard part, because you see people suffering that there's not need to, and the only way out of that is while we're here, we have this time. Take care of yourself, make your light as strong as you can using some of these tools, come up with your own. You got some good ideas. Okay. And put as much of that light back out into the world. And you can't do that unless you have enough to sustain yourself. That's why this is so important. That's my resolution for the new year. And that one I shall keep. How about you, Lynn?
Yes. And stay out of your fear. We don't die.
Yep.
So no matter what happens, stay out of your fear. Don't add to that darkness, and to put it in there, and to meditate and to manifest good things for yourself.
Absolutely. And don't say, I can't. If there's anything else you do in this world, understand this, that what Lynn said in the very beginning of this, your thoughts are important. The words are important. That's why it's called spelling. That's why, there's so many things I could throw at you right now to convince you, just understand what I say is true. So if it worked for the little train that could, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. It's one of the first mantras we ever learned on, trying to build your confidence, self-confidence, right? If that's true, then saying I can't is a self-curse. You're already cursing yourself before you get there. Listen, the things I've learned in the paranormal, just little things about saying stuff about the dead that have just passed or whatever, can connect that dead person to you. That's a curse. This is why you were told by wise old women that say, don't speak ill of the dead, and I got to sit back there and listen to people tell me stories. And I'm on the inside, I know that they're saying to me, well, I'm glad I'm rid of him because he was this in my life and this and this and this. And they're saying all these things. And I'm going, no, honey, you're not done with him because he's kind of right there. You're bringing him to you, and people don't believe these things. You're at this level that you should know this. So our words and our thoughts have power. Try to think positive things. And if you're thinking bad things or you're in a bad situation, try to shift it by maybe music or something you're watching on. You're feeling bad about what you're watching on YouTube. Don't do it. Do something else, or read a book. Get one of Lynn's books. Read that. How about that? All right, guys. Lynn, I love you. Happy New Year, sweetheart. Thank you for being here. Thank you. And looking forward to next month.
Yes, I can't wait. Bye-bye,
Thank
everybody.
you, everybody in the chat. Thank you all for all the super chats. I wish you love, again, like I said, first and foremost, release the doves. I wish you peace, wish you protection, and I wish you discernment, and I wish you light. Because listen, love is eternal. It's the most powerful energy. Keep your love lights burning, and you can burn right on through this like everything else you've been through in your life, because you're warriors, you're light workers.
And
Don't
we've
let
got
anybody tell you different. Go ahead, Lynn. Take us out.
and we've got each other. Okay, we got to
Amen.
stick together.
There you go. And we're going to try to be here tomorrow night with Steve. We're going to try to keep coming in here. Thank you guys for letting me take a little time off during the holidays. They were crazy. It was really something. Everything worked out just great. And, again, I just rolled with it, and you just get through it. And we got more coming. There's the little shop is, is doing something else, and people are getting sick, and people are, bouncing back, and we're getting through it. We're getting through it together. And go ahead.
I just got a notice from the X account. It says that there are rolling blackouts actively happening. So just to let you know.
There you go, guys. Get out your lard candles. And, Ted knows all about those. He can explain them. But I'll tell you what, Crisco will burn like crazy. Stick you a taper candle and a jar of Crisco. You got like light for like a week and a half, I think, maybe more, depending on the taper candle. How does Steve say it? Your mileage may vary. Listen, I love y'all. Happy New Year. I hope this is the right one. If not, I'll fix it. But good night. Happy New Year, Lynn. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you again for the super chats. I love you all. Vixen Doe and Ted and Tattooed Biker. Hey, Tattooed Biker, pick your night. Tattooed Biker's going to come on and audio only, and then we'll take you anywhere we can get you, sweetie. You come in here and tell your stories, my love, okay? And listen, everybody in here, have a wonderful, wonderful, safe finish to whatever holiday you're celebrating. I love you. Thank you for your the channel's kind of blowing up, especially with the mystery radio stuff. So I'll be doing more of that, more of the Lux Theater. We love them. We did Wizard. If you have not caught during the holiday season, I did It's a Wonderful Life, Wizard of Oz, Miracle on 34th Street, and a wonderful movie called Beyond Tomorrow. If you have not seen it, it's a 1940 movie about, it's a wonderful Christmas ghost story. I highly recommend it. It's going to make you feel good. There's a reason that this nostalgia makes you feel good. You look back at the way you remember things should be. And there's no reason that we can't have that again, because the light's going to win. I love you all. Happy New Year. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow night.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Whoop, wrong one.
I'm going to stay.
There we go. Good night.